Hello guys, my name is Rajesh. So today we are going to start with Ant.Design, and in this Ant.Design we are going to learn the basic and how to set up this. So this is a very small video which going to be like starting how to with concept with Ant.Design. So let's see what is Ant.Design first of all. And I have seen this like near about 2 year what are the benefit of using this and what are the cool thing about it and what best part you can do with Ant.Design. And so it has their own guideline, it has their own component system and very unique concept and useful components. So I'll start with the basic thing like what are things they have kept in mind, what they have their guideline and all. So you can see there is a multiple way to use their functionality, like Ant.Design Pro is also there. So that is kind of template. So I'll walk you through this part. So first of all, let's see what are the components which is available. So you can see these are the components, and which is basically all the website or if any admin panel you are trying to build. So these template and these component will help you all sort of functionality which you require. So modern web, all of these things already available in this. So let's suppose if you're working with the data, so how many type your data can present it with that. So now you can see the autocomplete and checkboxes, and then date picker, forms, rating, radio button and all. So all sort of all the component which is pre-built, you can customize them and you can just directly import their component name and start using that. You can see the carousel, card and calendar as well. So many components are there. So these are the open source, and if you are looking some best UI part, and got one more thing called Ant Pro. So that is again similar, it is the same concept, but it has many new features. So if I give you the preview of it, so it would look like this. So this is just a previous screen, and what are the component and how it can be built with this. So we are going to create this project, and this very easy to achieve and accomplish that, and you can configure and you can modify those changes immediately, and it is not very difficult as of now. And these components are very easy to understand, and they have their property naming convention are too easy to learn, anyone can learn basically, and no need to go through the too much documentation, and the component itself self documentary. So that's kind of nice, and most of the projects I have used Ant.Design Pro. So I'm just recommending you so that you can also look into this and start using that. So let's start with coding part. So I'll just close this, and if you want start with Ant Pro, so there is a simply two thing, one is a preview, one is a getting started. If you click on the getting started, so they have got a very concise document, precise information, so that you can easily navigate and see what is there and how much need to work on it. So basically if you have Git installed, if you have Node.js already installed on your system, so then you are good to go. So let's suppose if I start with my terminal, and I'll navigate to my development folder, and here I'll make I can directly start with this yarn create, and similarly I can say here the name of your application, like here is specifies my app. Let's suppose we can give it to pro and okay. So that's it. So what it will do, it will fetch the dependencies, and once the dependencies are there, then it is going to be fetching all the changes from the server. So it will take very couple of minutes, and once that is done, then you are good to go with the next part. So the next part is very simple. It is going to ask you few things. Select the template or boilerplate and design pro, and then there is a app, there is a block, there is library, there is a plugin. So it is going to give you the full sort of benefit. If you are going to create a sample scratch application from bottom of the every line of piece of code, you would like to do that, or if you want to go to the Ant.Design pro, which has already built-in boilerplate, so that you can use that boilerplate to do the already created template. And then there is a library, there is a plugin. So these plugin and library basically part of the UMI. So if you would like to know what is UMI, so you can visit umijs.org. So this is the base thing, and it provide enterprise level up framework, and which is very helpful to binding with and some sort of routing and production level thing. And it is going to handle your redux part, it is going to handle your validation, kind of it is going to handle your routing. So Ant.Design currently based on this umijs, and it's got a number of configuration. You can plug and play many things. So if you navigate to the config section, so you can see there is a ton of the functionality you can do with this. And still it is going to give you the good support of you know configuration things, so that you can easily achieve your task. So let's flip to this and let's see what is this process. Currently it's asking for Ant.Design pro, and if you are going to use app, so let's suppose I would like to start with Ant.Design pro. Okay, so here we go, Ant.Design pro. So it is going to ask you again which version you would like to start with this. Let's suppose I'm going to version 4, and 5 is still in preview, so I'm not going to do that. So starting with Ant pro version 4, and it will ask you again which language do you like to use. Like if you going to JavaScript, you can select that, especially JavaScript. If you would like to work in the TypeScript, so then TypeScript is another option. So I'm going to just with the JavaScript, let's say. And there is something called as a complete block, and simple will give you the very basic, and you need to do all some sort of stuff to your own. But if you go for the complete, so it will give you the all the possibilities preview, like even login form as well. So let's do that. So it's cloning that, and once that cloning is done, you have to just do the part of npm install. So some modules I'm not getting, so that's fine. Sometimes it gives the error, and depending on the module wise, but don't worry. So let's clean this up, and what we can do the yarn to install the packages. Okay, actually we have to navigate to that directory cd pro. And so if you see in this directory, I got this config and mock.js packagation and public directory src test. So let's open to the VS Code and see what are the things available over here. And if you see, there is a bunch of configuration like editor config, ESLint, getignore, prettier, styling, and jest, as well as JS config, package.json. So we should not be worried about what all those configuration as of now. We'll walk you through like each of the component and each of the configuration related to that. But as of now, we have to just look into this Ant.Design. So currently we got version 4, and in this version 4, so we got a number of script you can see. And similarly, these are the dependency which is not installed, that's why I'm getting this warning error. Okay, so how do I install them? It's very easy. So I can navigate to this terminal and just do the yarn. So once you do the yarn, what it will do, it will navigate to this package.json and start looking all the dependencies, and then dev dependencies what we have mentioned over here. So once that is done, then we are good to go to run our project. So currently it's installing. It may take a couple of minutes, so I'm just moving forward, and till the time I'll walk you through my code view. So once that is done, this part or this part, whether you should like to start with the npm or yarn, then it comes with the config folder, and then there is mock, there is public, there is src. So most of the thing we have to do with src folder only, like it's got assets, which is very logical thing. Your all the static files will go there, and static in the sense like assets like images, fonts, something like that. And then there is a component. If you are building component which is commonly going to be used in your entire application, so you can put that into components. Then e2e is basically integrated test cases for like end-to-end testing, like UI part. Then there is a layouts, which is common layouts for all across your application. Like if you're designing a header, so that should be a specific place. If you're designing the sidebar or designing container, or you are designing a footer part, that will be there. Then we got model, pages, services. So model, which is helping you to create some sort of model or a container of your application, like redux will help you into that. So that is there, so we'll discuss more about it. Then it goes the pages. So the pages are very straightforward. Like if you design some pages or define some pages into that pages section area or folder, so it will act like a page or template, and that page help you into the UI routing. So this is very straightforward with this umijs, and they have their configuration, and based on that their routing configuration, it is working. So it's very simple and it's very useful. So it's very straightforward actually. Then there is got services. Services is nothing about where we can configure our apis in the sense, like if you'd like to consume some response from third party libraries or REST API, so that this is the folder where we can keep our responses and manage our responses. Okay. And then there is a util, which is a common utility part, which you can uh, define your util things so that we can use over and over again. So basically it will be the plain javascript actually, so or maybe a block of code which help you to resolve many cases. Then there is a locale. So basically locales are very useful if you are going to support the widely and global languages, like if you are trying to develop your application in French, or if you are developing application in different languages apart from the English. Then there is a global.less and global.ts. This ts or maybe js might be, it's depending on what framework and language you have chosen. So currently we have took js part. So that will be the global.js and the global.less. These two, as name suggests, it's global, so they are having the global configuration, and that global configuration will help you to do the many things at global level. Like if you are trying to change entire application theme in different color, so then you can go for the global.ts, and same goes the cs and the less as well. So then there is a test, that's readme, there's package.json. So let's see what we have got till now. So still it's trying to load. So once it is get loaded, so we'll good to go. And once that part is done, like currently we are in this stage, like we have done yarn. So if you are not using yarn, so you can use npm install. So once that npm install is done, then you are very much uh, good to go to start with the npm start or yarn start. So if you are executing npm or yarn start, what is going to happen? So it is going to start with your this package.json. It is going to look, and then in the npm start or yarn start, it is going to looking into this umij. Once that started, then umid will start executing their own process, and once that is done and all sort of the development is done, now you are ready to test an application on production or uat server. Then you have to do the yarn build. So then there is a process, and that process is called deployment, build and deployment. So if you are going to do the build and deployment, it's very straightforward, all sort of things are taken care. Now you have to just do the few things in the sense, like if you have any environmental things, like you'd like to plug and play something, and some configuration you have to do, so that you can also do that. So this page is very self-documentary, like if you have any configuration environmental, so that you can configure. Now if you're going to the building process, so just if you're using yarn, so you can have this command like yarn build, and if you are using npm, so npm run build. So this is very straightforward. What it will do, it will just go through your code and pull up all the source of information and combine them and build them for production development. So in this production development, if you see, so it is going to take your configuration like config.js, and whatever configuration you have provided, that is going to be built as a production. So it will push all the by default whatever changes you have done into this dist folder. That dist folder may contain a number of file, is going to be an entry point like index.html, so that will be serviceable, and that can be served on any specific browser or any specific server. And if you would like to specify your knowledge, like which component and which some sort of plugin library using too much resources, and you would like to analyze your code, and which is having too much size of your file, so that you can analyze with you executing this command npm run analyze. So npm run analyze will go through, and if you see, this package already have analyzer, so you can see the cross environment analyze one umi build. So this is nothing about, it's some predefined some sort of code, and this predefined command will execute. And you can, if you don't know like what is npm run analyze is going to do, so you can just start using this command analyze equals to 1, and you may build, or if you're working any other something, then you can use that. So let's see, I think it's done. There's a few error regarding my xcode. So that's fine, that's not a problem. Now what we can do, and if you see, I got the node module folder, and it's got all the dependencies whatever required. Now if I run my project, so you can see yarn start, so it should run, and whatever template we have seen as a preview for this, so that we should see into this. So this template we should see. So I think it's building and configuring this. Once that configuring and building is done, then it will start, or it will give the port localhost 8000. So on that 8000 port we can preview our changes. So as of now it is just 37-40%. So once that is done, then we are very much good to go to test our project. It's taking a little bit time because this is the first time I'm executing this part, so it may take a little while. Once that is done, then there is a concept of hot reloading, so that hot reload will automatically cover all the some sort of part if you are doing the some changes and all. So so the first time the webpack is configuring everything. Once that is done, then there's no problem. I'll skip this part while it's loading, then we'll start once that is done. Now you can see the dependency has been installed. So let's try to see and see if this package.json got all the files or not. Yeah, so looks like that. So what we have to do now, we have to do like yarn start and see if this is working. And if it is not so, then there is a very few specific thing, like you can delete your package.json, or you can just do it like yarn again, or if you have npm, so you can do like npm install. So this is going to just clone all the dev dependencies or dependencies which is available in the package.json. So it is not going to take a very long time. It's a very specific package dependencies which is going to be resolved automatically. So we have to just do the yarn or either npm install. So let's see. I think I have done almost. Okay, looks like too many dependencies are unmet, so it's trying to resolve all this. I think the packages are already installed, so let's try to run yarn start, and if it is working, then we are good to go. So yarn start, I think this time it should work because I'm not skipping anything or any critical part, because you should know what are the problem we should face while doing the development. So we should not be very much get things like, if it is not working, then what should be like. Most of the people hide the main screen if they got error or something like that. So I'm not skipping those part, because whatever problem I am facing right now, you may also face that. So keep in mind, so I'm not skipping that, so that you can also go through, and whatever process I follow to resolve that, you can also do the same thing. So keep in mind, I'm trying to showcase all the possible thing likewise, and I'm just skipping only a few part, like if it is yarn is taking long time to load the packages or download the bundle and all, so that part only. But other than that, I'm not trying to skip anything. Okay, so it is just building, and the couple of moment it will try to start that application. So I'm very much happy with this setup as of now. It's not very difficult setup, as explained in the document. It's very simple, and only you have to go through the few steps which you have to do that, like preparing, like if you have yarn or node or git already installed, so you can do this part, yarn or this part. Once that is done, then you have to select the template, what template you would like to start, because I have taken full template is complete boilerplate, so that might take a time. But if you go for the block, app or library or something like that, so it is not going to take much time. And once that is done, so currently this part we have done npm installed, or you can say yarn. And then once yarn is done, again I'm going to start our application. So currently this is the our step which is going to be executed. I mean, it's already in progress. It's bundling all the module and all. So once that configuration is done, we can see the changes in preview. And meanwhile, I'll overview the code. So let's refresh this. So if you see, this is pretty much very straightforward, like other React project you have seen so far. So in this we got the package.json, which is having script section which is required, and then the pre-commit, the functionality and hooks, which we will talk about this later. And then linting, like if you have to verify your code, like in JS or something is not correctly or not following the standard, or maybe your less file, or JavaScript, TypeScript file or JSX, something like that. So lint is going to prevent that unwanted script or unwanted misused code, or it is not followed standard, that thing. Then there is a browser list capabilities. Then there we have dev dependencies. Dev dependencies comes only with the thing like while development part dependencies and dev dependencies. Then there is an engine, we are trying to support this node version 10 plus. And then check files basically, these are the location we are going to check file. And then npm installed, then false. So this is pretty much very simplest thing. And now if we start with the src folder, if you see it's got many other folders like .umi folder. So I will just recommend you, so this is just default and it will auto generated folder. So do not try to delete it, because it will auto generate again once you delete that. So this is the internal support of the framework, so do not worry about this. And you should not be learning what it is inside, what it contain, nothing more than that. So you just keep in mind this is auto generated supported the framework. And then there's another folder which we need to work on that. So let's start with pages as self-documentary folders. Like in this, if you got to the accounts, so accounts got two things, one is a setting and one is a center. And then if you go to the dashboard got three folder again, like analysis, monitor and workplace. So these folder are just self-documentary, and there's naming conventions for UI routing. I mean the URL will be the same way. Okay, so that is how you can keep your structure or directory structure, so that it will be very easy to understand, or someone else is going to read your code or trying to understand your code, so that will be very easy for them. And now in that, let's suppose if you are looking to analysis URL or page, so what it may contain. So if it is index.js, so this will serve first, and then it got few component, local and util. So index got self documentary information, like it's got the component did mount. So after component did mount, there is a component will unmount. So basically in this component will unmount, where we are going to clear out all the required request, or if anything is going on, like I would like to clear out all the possible issues. That's one thing. So this is how the component, and we'll talk about this how to work with them and what are the some sort of the functionality and creating and handling them, and even making lazy loading the component and all. So that's the part of the future video. As of now, what we are going to do, we are going to just test it out whether it's working or not properly. So that's the one part. So see if it is getting compiled. I think it is getting compiled. So once compilation is done, then we'll update this. So I think it's building. Just what I'll do, I'll just skip this part. Once it is done, then I'll showcase to the page. Okay, so now it's working on port 8000. So let's switch to the port 8000. Okay, so the component is compiled and now it's trying to load. Now what I'll do, I'll showcase to you the menu. So like these are the menu and this is set up. Now what I'll do, I'll explore each and everything, and with the help of component and going forward the routing, how to create routing, and the boilerplate I will explain. Then we'll start with the basic, how to create your own setup and boilerplate and all the same thing. So as of now, this is pretty much everything. So this is what we need to build from the scratch, and also understand what is already existing, which is provided by Ant. So thank you for your time. So please let me know if there any confusion, any doubt you have, and please subscribe to my channel, and I'll start posting videos further upcoming the exploration of Ant and working with the React. So thank you for your time and have a nice day.